Good afternoon. Welcome all the members of the DBL family. Your co-commish IB bringing you a pre-Shabbat post-game recap for all the games that took place this past Wednesday. And we're going to give you some not too early but early predictions for championship contenders, matchup, etc. and so forth. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into things. I'm going to start with this Goldman Law Firm Old Farm Productions matchup. And right off the bat, I'm going to say this trio of Freddie Swed, Judah DeVere, and Yitzhak Daba is absolutely scary. Each of these guys putting up double-digit numbers. Freddie Swed 19, Judah DeVere 13, Daba 16. And they're getting help from their supporting cast. Rav Zafrani pouring in buckets. Malka, Rodin, their breakout star who no one expected. Danny Faour also can score the ball and rebound like an animal. This team is scary. They're consistent. They had 30 points in the first half, ended with 60. Very tough team on any given night for any matchup. I think offensively they give you nightmares. You're not sure who to guard, not sure what to do defensively. They're a very good team, quite possibly the deepest backcourt and roster in recent DBL memory. They're stacked, and I think they're very talented. Hats off to them for taking the W. But when looking at this matchup, you got to look at the other coin of it. Old Farm Productions is missing Isaac Meat Abukai. They're missing Albert Cohen. On any given night, those two guys are the best big men in the league. So without those two guys, you're already at a disadvantage if you're Old Farm. Now, for sure, they had excellent play from Daniel Maloff. He scored 16 points that night. Al Sultan poured in 15. Those guys played extremely well. But again, I think there are other players, Shimmy, Portnoy, Doc, they're overcompensating for what they're missing. And it's very hard to do everything on the floor. Mikey Miz, usually a superb player, one of the best in the league, can hit from anywhere on the court when he gets hot. But he only had 5 points, and I think, again, they're overcompensating for a lot of what they're missing. They're trying to figure out what to do defensively. Guys shouldn't be guarding certain players, now are. So hats off to Goldman. They took this matchup. I think once Old Farm does get both Alco and Meat back, it's going to be a scary matchup for any team. And they're definitely also, behind Goldman, one of the deepest rosters in DBL. That's the Goldman Law Firm matchup versus Old Farm. Moving on to my favorite matchup going in, but it didn't turn out how I expected it. You had Shahei Bar Law taking on Winitsky Group. The youngest matchup by far out of the evening. You have no one above the age of 26, 27 years old maybe. I thought going into this game, Winitsky Group was going to have trouble without Tobias. The complete opposite happened. Without Tobias, they scored 95 points, which makes you think if they had him, they might have scored 120, 130, which would have set a DBL record. But it's without a doubt, one of the highest scoring games we've seen in quite some time. 95 is close to a record in our league. But again, you have to give credit to the offense. I mean, Sayeg scoring 22 points. Citron didn't even have a great game. He had almost 10 points. You had Grazi 24, Bruce putting up close to 40 points. This team, when they're all clicking and when they get Tobias back, very scary to match up with. You got to look at the other side of things. I don't know what went wrong for Shahei Bar Law here, but immediately, defensively, this can happen. Giving up 95 points in a 40-minute span is a lot for any team. You're not going to win a game like that. I know they scored 76, but a lot of it came in garbage time. This team needs to figure it out defensively, their identity. They lack a big men, which is not a big deal. A few teams do. Big men are a premium in this league, but they got to figure out their strengths defensively. Maybe it's a zone. Maybe it's some sort of scheme that Z has to plan. Not sure, but they do have the guys and they do have the talent to make it work. Joe Z and his brother Little Z, both combining for 50-plus points. I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly what you need. Irwin's son, 11 points. I mean, they're getting the scoring output, but defensively, they're playing Ole defense, and I don't know where they go from here. They did get Joe Adis back. We're happy to have him on the court. I'm not worried about this team. I think they'll figure it out, but there's definitely some questions on the defensive side as they just gave up 95 points. to Winitsky Group. So hats off to Winitsky Group for scoring and taking that W. We're going to move on to the next matchup. Very interesting. A team that I'd really like to talk about. You had my team, Beta Wave Funding, taking on Majestic Motors. Sorry. I'm going to start by saying that I think Yefet and Eli Mamie are one of the best tandems in our league. Very great 1-2 punch. I think their supporting cast is fantastic too. Joe Ajmi, Moyal, Charles Saka, Teddy Bitesh, who missed this game. This team has to figure it out. They're still yet to find a win. They're in last place currently in the league. I wouldn't worry. The season is long. I think they're still trying to figure it out chemistry-wise. There's some new pieces for them. Yefet and Mamie are coming off a championship season last fall. So, I'm not too worried. I just think they have to get back into their groove. I think Mamie has to be a little more assertive offensively. He's not scoring enough. He's rebounding and leading the league in rebounds, but he's not being assertive enough offensively. He's not getting Yefet out in the open in transition. They're not running as much as they used to, as much as they'd like to. And also on the flip side, I think that Ajmi, maybe it's Teddy Bitesh, maybe it's Saka, whoever it may be, one of those guys has to take the reins of floor general. They lack a floor general desperately. Maybe a trade before the deadline would be helpful for this team. But regardless, as composed, this roster is good enough to make it to the end. I think that they're just going to have to figure out some offensive identity. They're not doing what usually brings them success. There's no outlet pass from Mamie to Yefet. There's no cherry picking on Yefet's part, which he does extremely well. And when that's not going, it affects other parts of the game. Now you're mentally beat. Now you're not playing such good defense. Ajmi's not getting his open looks enough. This game he did, which was nice to see, but they were missing their big man, Eli Mamie, this game. So, we're not going to read too much into the loss. But again, they gotta pick it up. They got to gain a little more chemistry, play together, go back to the basics. Eli's got to be more assertive. Ajmi's got to get open for more shots from the perimeter. This team will be fine. I know they're winless right now. I'm not worried about them. I'm not sleeping on them. They'll figure it out and they'll piece it together as the season goes along. But now my favorite part of this matchup, and I got to speak unbiasedly, the player of it's tough with Bruce. I'm going to go co-player of the night, Joseph Nalo. This man had a offensive performance for the ages. He scored 35 points, and he played superb on the defensive side as well. He definitely was the anchor for us on both sides of the floor. He was incredible this evening. From three-point shots, taking it to the basket, setting players up, moving the ball, getting everybody involved. I mean, he was a star in this matchup, and it's really showing the matchup. Even last week prior to this, he was playing extremely well too. So he's really found his stride and his groove. I think this team, our team, Beta Wave Funding, we play defense. We get after it defensively. We don't let up too many points. When we're healthy, of course, we have a deep roster. Everybody can hit shots, so I'm excited for how the remainder of the season is going to go. And also, we'd even get into it. Big Steve, 8 points. Steve Levy scoring 8 points. He's coming back, rebounding. He had almost a double-double that night. Panitz hitting shots from the perimeter. Bahari pouring in buckets. Zach Goldman, who's up for Defensive Player of the Year, taking every best player on every team. He's diving for loose balls. He's scoring the ball now, too. Jack Sutton can hit a mid-range. So this team is good. We're still learning how to play with each other. I think as the season progresses, we'll get even better. We do lack a big somewhat. But for what we lack in big men, I think that we do make up for in hustle, in steals, assists, getting everybody involved, moving, and so forth. So 76-66 was the final score. Yefet only scoring 18. Moyal 9, Joe Ajmi 16, and then like I said, Nalo 35, Jack Sutton 10, and Stephen Levy 8 points, 10 rebounds. So great matchup, or great playing for Team Beta Wave, scoring 76 points. The final matchup of the evening, definitely, or at least I think the closest. you had Bergbites taking on Dynamic Capital. This was a close matchup somewhat. Bergbites could really never get ahead. I don't think they took a lead. I subbed in this game. We never took a lead at any point in this game, I think. Maybe in the first couple minutes, but once Dynamic got going, it was very hard for us to match the firepower back to them. Immediately, I want to, tip the hat to Dynamic and all of their players. I mean, I'm looking at the box score. Saul Fallis, 26. Brian Sutton, 8 points. Leo Rishdi, 11 points. Simmons, 13. Even Morris putting in buckets at 3 points. He's usually not notably a 3-point scorer. Is more of a mid-range and down, but he was hitting shots. So, and he's grabbing rebounds. So, I mean, this team, they're all scoring, and it's very hard to compete with a team who's very deep, and they move the ball so well. They all like each other. They all have a nice chemistry. They move the ball very, very well, and they get out in transition like no one else, like no business. So very tough, I think, for Bergbites. They were missing DB. They're missing Nazalta, DeWitt, missing some key players on the defensive side who I think would help and propel them, offensively, defensively, all of that. We only scored 37 points in the first half. We scored 37 in the first half and ended with 58. So not a strong second half for us. I think we lacked a little defensive camaraderie this game. Dynamic just moved the ball on us like a professional team. They were passing maybe 5-6 times down the floor every single possession. They were getting open looks. We weren't really communicating so well defensively. Rav Shmueli, solid game, 20 points, but 20 is his low point for the season. He's usually scoring 27, 28 plus, maybe 25 plus. So not a expected game. Usually you expect 30 or 40 from him. DB, I think, also huge miss in this game. Would have been a massive anchor and help for them defensively. Dynamic Capital just kind of imposed their will on us this game. And this leads me to my next point. They're actually my sleeper team to make it to the championship this season. I think on any given night when they're healthy, they have the guard play. Andy, Simmons, Brian Sutton. All these guys are interchangeable, and if you have them on the court at the same time, it's very hard to move the ball and get easy buckets against them. And then you have Levels and Fallis waiting for you in the paint after that. So, I mean, very, very deep team. Similar, I think, in the sense that their roster is stacked 1 through 7 to Goldman Law Firm. I like them to make a deep run, maybe get to the championship this season. I don't know if they have enough to win it. A lot of season left to go. We'll see what happens with that. But superb performance. Saul Fallis, 26. Leo Rishdi, 11 points, like I said. Simmons, 13 points, welcoming him back. This team, when they're connecting and when they're all playing really well and in sync basketball, one of the better teams in the league by far. First loss on the season for Bergbites. Wouldn't worry. This team is actually sneaky good. They have 2 twin towers in the middle waiting for anybody in Ilan and Stick. Very fun team to play with. I like this team a lot too. I just think they were missing some pieces offensively, and obviously that leads to some tough defensive let-ups as well. That is it for the recaps. I'd like to now move on to my next point. Like I mentioned, I think sleeper going in from now, not too early, but early prediction for championship. My sleeper pick is Dynamic Capital to make it to the championship. And I do have Goldman Law Firm meeting them in the championship. A lot of season left to go. Trades happen. We usually average about 3 trades per season, so anything can happen on any given Wednesday night. But there you have it. That's our post-game recap, and Shabbat Shalom, folks.